And you talked a little bit about, writing in bursts. So spending most of your time doing the living, but when you are writing, when you're in that burst energy, are there particular kind of rituals that you have doing that? Are there ways that help you go to the blank page, or exercises you make for yourself, or anything that kind of helps get you into that rhythm?
Yeah. So over the years, what I've learned about myself is that for me, like what we call writer's block is just fear of writing a bad poem. And so I will often, when I sit down to a blank page, have to just be like, write the bad version. Like, it's not the end of the world. Because also, a lot of the times when I'm not writing, it's not because I don't want to write. I usually want to write. I just kind of don't. But I am often, and this kind of resets every time, I am afraid to sit down with a blank page when I feel like I don't already have an idea. But here's the thing, I've never had an idea for a poem. None of my existing poems are written because I was like, I have an idea for a poem,
right.
You know? A lot of like the personality of the poem emerges as I'm writing it, as I'm editing it. So this lie I tell myself that all my poems have gotten written because I had an idea is just, I don't know how to get that out of my head. But I have to kind of relearn each time that the only way to make a poem is to make it. I can't like formulate the whole thing in my head and then just like sit down and have it emerge fully formed. Maybe some lucky people work that way, but that's never been my experience. A poem is made of words, so I have to sit down and one word at a time coax that thing out. But there are also a lot of like tools and systems that I have in place for myself now, especially because I feel like it takes so much to get myself to sit down to write that once I'm there, I don't want to be like hesitating and hemming and hawing and being like, maybe I should just go watch TV instead. So once I'm sitting down, I'm like, okay, if I don't immediately find an entry point, here's a checklist of things I can do. Usually the first thing I will do is reread a poem or a book or something that I already love, and it will get me like re-excited about poetry and will make me feel like I'm getting to do the most fun thing in the world, because I am. And then sometimes that's all it takes, and I'm in. If that doesn't work, I have a document on my computer called Words I Like. And it's just a long list of words I like. And sometimes I can like pick a couple out and like give myself the exercise of like writing a line or a stanza or something using a couple of those words. And sometimes that will like get the ball rolling. If that doesn't work, I will go through a poem by someone else that I really love and go through it line by line and boil each line down to what it's doing in the most basic way possible. So it's like line 1, something about the speaker's emotional state. Line 2, observation about the world outside. Line 3, something that happened at an earlier point in time. Line 4, whatever, and just make myself literally a line by line list of prompts, and then go and just fulfill those prompts line by line by line. And then sometimes like it just takes a stanza of that, and then like something kicks into place and I can just write the rest of the poem unassisted. But that's part of the reason I have so many after poems, is because a lot of times someone else's poem will be kind of the ghost behind the poem that I've written, and then what else? There's like 1,000 like stupid little tricks I really have to trick myself into writing a lot of the time. And again, it's not because I don't want to, but it's because there's like the thing I want to do and then the thing that's keeping me from doing the thing I want to do. And so the tricks are to like distract that thing that's stopping me. So yeah, they're like a bunch of little things. Sometimes I'll set myself a formal assignment. It's also why I write so many ghazals, where it's like one of the only forms that I just know off the top of my head. I don't have to like look at a diagram of a sestina to remember. So sometimes it'll just be like, okay, pick a word from the Words I Like list, write a ghazal using that word as the end word. see what happens, you know? And a lot of those first drafts go nowhere, but it's also, like, most of my poems get made in revision anyway. Like, there are no true first drafts of mine anywhere in the world if I can help it, because they're not great. But it's so much easier for me to like extract the poem I'm trying to write from an existing draft instead of trying to like pull it out of thin air. You know, once I have like material on the page, I can work with the material. But when it's just a blank page, there's nothing to work with there. I just have to like imagine onto it. It kind of, my brain doesn't work that way.